Hey guys, Chris here with the Good Old Gamer. So today we're going to talk about the Monkey Island series. This is one of my personal favorite game series of all time. And there's a lot of reasons for that. As a kid, this was a challenging game. I mean, if you really think about it, as a young kid, the whole game is text. They didn't speak. They didn't have voiceovers in games back then. So it actually helped force me to read. And that was actually one of the biggest things that Secret of Monkey Island did, was it actually helped me learn how to read as a child. So it definitely has a warm place in my heart, but the entire graphic adventure game type, we don't really see that very much here anymore nowadays. So I wanted to bring this up, as this is definitely a game series that if you're a veteran of PC gaming, you may have played this a long time ago. It's definitely worth a revisit. And if you're new to gaming and you've never heard of this series, this is absolutely worth checking out. And to kick off my Good Games on GOG series, this is definitely where I wanted to start, as this is definitely something I think that everybody, all ages out there, can enjoy. Now, the three games that I'm going to be looking at here today primarily is Secret of Monkey Island, which is the first game, and we'll be taking a look at the special edition versions of 1 and 2, LeChuck's Revenge, Monkey Island 2, as well as The Curse of Monkey Island, which is the third game in the series. I will also talk a little bit about Escape from Monkey Island, which is the fourth game in the series, but I'll cover why this is kind of its own thing here in just a little bit. Now, what separates graphic adventure games like Monkey Island against modern games that most people are playing, especially things like Battle Royale games or even things like Dota 2 and other MOBA games, WoW, games of that nature, what makes this different is instead of it being a reactionary type of a game, this is a puzzle-solving thinking game. Now, that doesn't sound like all that much fun. It's like, oh, wow, Tetris. Kind of, because you are puzzle solving, but at the same time, it's the level of humor that is in these games that really make them stand out and make them last the test of time. Think of it like the Spaceballs of video games. And you can see that the influence from Monkey Island has been felt in pop culture over all of the years. I mean, if you take a look at Pirates of the Caribbean, Curse of the Black Pearl, the first movie, it's especially if you played Monkey Island, you saw that movie and you're like, wait a minute. You could tell that they definitely took a lot of influences from the Secret of Monkey Island game. Even more recent games like the Uncharted series, Uncharted 4, they actually pay homage to Monkey Island in that game. So you can tell a lot of people in the industry have felt the impact of this game series. Now, the special editions of Monkey Island 1 and 2, you can play with updated graphics. So this way, for your newer gamers out there, it's not going to look as antiquated and old. I know a lot of people want those more modern graphics and everything. So you have that option available to you. But if you're an old school purist, you can always flip it back to the old school graphical fidelity and play it like the game was originally intended. So much like Halo on the Xbox, where you can switch back and forth on the fly, you can do the same thing on the Monkey Island special editions. So that's a really nice touch. So it doesn't matter if you're an old school purist or if you prefer the more modern graphics. Most of the gameplay footage that I have is with the more modern graphics. I prefer the old control scheme, where the way you interacted with the world, you had like talk and give and push and pull, and you could use combinations of this with the world and the items in your inventory, and that's how you solve problems. You still kind of do that, but they changed it up to where you have like a wheel system, or you can use your keyboard to, like, for example, use P for pick up, U for use, and stuff like that. So it just depends on which way you like to go. I prefer the older way of doing it with the actual words on the screen, and then you can control everything just with the mouse. They did fix that a little bit in Monkey Island 2, where you could right-click, and then it gives you like the three most common options with that item, so this way it streamlines it a little bit better. Well, now that you know the difference between the special edition and the original gameplay, it's up to you whichever way you prefer to play. Anyways, getting back into it, the game itself, you follow Guybrush Threepwood. He is a young man looking to become a mighty pirate. He's out to search for his treasure, become the greatest sword fighter, and of course, get the girl. And it's all the fun, crazy characters that you meet in between and all of the crazy adventures that you find yourself in and the really ridiculous things that you need to do to solve some of these puzzles that make the game what it really is. Just for example, name me one other game where a chicken with a pulley in the middle is a crucial part of the gameplay. Or instead of having a combat system for the sword fighting where you're trying to dodge and attack your opponent, instead you have to come against them or come at them with insults and counter their insults with other insults. There's a lot of memorization in this game that's needed for puzzle solving. This is actually a game where you can benefit from having a notepad next to you while you're going through it, because there's a lot of things to remember. Now, I'm not doing a review here, and I don't want to spoil the game. I want to introduce you to it and explain to you why these games are different than other games that you're playing nowadays, or pretty much in the past 10 to 15 years. This is a genre that you don't really see anymore because it doesn't make the big mega bucks like a lot of other games out there. There are a few indie developers out there that will occasionally make graphic adventure games, but the late 80s and 90s LucasArts graphic adventure games will always stand the test of time. Most of them have been remade and remastered, and these are probably the best way to get into that sort of gameplay style. I would start with The Secret of Monkey Island, give that a shot, see how that works for you. If you enjoy the game, obviously move on to the next one and the next one. Obviously, Monkey Island 2 is very similar. It's been remastered, so if you play Secret of Monkey Island, you'll be very familiar with how that works. Now, Curse of Monkey Island actually came out with its own sort of cartoon graphic style originally back in 1997, I believe. So graphically, it still holds up pretty well here today. Of course, it's lower resolution, but it still works, and works well on the Scum engine. So they didn't have to update this game, and it was already fully voiced over. So the game itself was just ready to go and ready to be played. Now, Escape from Monkey Island's a little bit different. This was back in the year 2000 or 2001 this game came out, and it was designed, I think, primarily with the PlayStation 2 in mind. You can tell that the first Monkey Island game in 3D, they didn't really know how they wanted to do it. Now, the game itself is actually a lot of fun. The storyline's interesting, and it is a very enjoyable game. It is another Monkey Island game, has the same level of humor, same interesting type characters throughout, and it really is a good game. However, the control scheme and the lack of modern graphics options, the game will only run at 640 by 480. It does not allow you to up the resolution. The only way to do that on PC is to use DG Voodoo, and then you can force a higher resolution, but then it also stretches the screen. So you have to pick lower resolution with the proper aspect ratio, or higher resolution with a slightly stretched screen. For me, the higher res makes it worth it. The game also plays best with a controller. I've played it with the keyboard, and it's a little annoying. So the control scheme on this game really is what lets it down. It just really wasn't designed very well with modern PCs and controllers in mind. Now, if you enjoy all of those and you want more Monkey Island, we were actually really lucky. I believe it was back in 2009 when they did, around the time when they did the remasters for Secret and Monkey Island 2, they came out with Tales of Monkey Island. Telltale Games did. And this was actually a really good collection. It was 5 parts. You know how they always do their series with Telltale Games. And they did a really good job on that. It was far better to control than Escape from Monkey Island. They've kind of ironed that out, and they made that work better. And it has the same humor and flair as the other games in the series. However, it looks like GOG, since Telltale Games is going through their bankruptcy or whatever that's going on with them, it's been pulled down from them right now. I just went ahead and checked on Steam. It's not available there either. So it looks like you'll have to hold off and wait a little while till licenses and stuff get kind of handled, and eventually that'll probably come back out. I wouldn't say that it's like a full-fledged Monkey Island 5, but it's nice to get back into the Monkey Island universe after such a long period of time, about 10 years after Escape from Monkey Island came out, and actually have good controls and get back into that world with these fun and great characters. And that's really the biggest takeaway, is after 20 years of playing in this universe with these characters and all their crazy, wacky adventures, I still go back every couple of years and enjoy this world. It's great to do the insult sword fighting and test my own memory and see if I can still remember all of the combinations. Defeating LeChuck in all of his various forms, going from the ghost pirate to the zombie pirate to the flaming beard pirate. It's just a great universe. You have great characters, great villains, great story, and great humor. It's, like I said, the best way to phrase it, it's the Spaceballs of video games. It's something that you can always enjoy over and over and over again. And luckily, there's, 3 mainline games, a 4th game that, like I said, is just plagued with technical issues. And then we also have the Tales from Monkey Island hopefully that comes back out, and once licensing's all figured out, and then you guys can have access to that. But I put links in the description below if you want to check any of these games out. Over there on GOG, they're DRM free, so this way, once you own them, you own them. So for example, like I have Tales of Monkey Island, I own that forever, so I don't have to worry about, you know, it disappearing. I actually have it. So that's why I personally prefer using GOG, but they're also available on Steam, I believe, if you're interested as well. Well, alrighty guys, those are just my thoughts. I really love this series. Let me know what you guys think down in the comment section below. If you like this video, please hit that like button. Please subscribe. Please share with friends. That really does help me out. That's all I have for today, and I will catch you guys in the next video.